What is going on, guys? So today is the last day of 7 days of 2 videos a day that I promised you guys. So I thought I'd make it really good, and this beats yesterday's video. Now there is a woman's voice inside, so if you're not down for this, and I'm not going to do it the whole video, but if it's not your thing, is this Kate Mulvey's wig? That bitch has been in my car again. I'm going to get her for that. I did not know. Or should I say, I did not know. Kate, I'm thinking of Kate. Convicted pedophile Mary Kay Letourneau claims she had no idea there was a law against having sex with children, as she hounds her husband, or as I like to call it, cuckold, into admitting he was the boss and pursued her. The American schoolteacher who made headlines around the world for her secret affair with a 12-year-old student still insists to this day she had no idea what she did was a crime. Mary Kay Letourneau, then 34, was still married to the father of her first 4 children when she began a relationship with 12-year-old student Vili Falau, I think it is, during summer school. In 1997, she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony, second-degree rape of a child, and was sentenced 7 years in prison. If somebody had told me, if anyone had told me, there is a specific law that says this is a crime, she told Channel 7's Sunday Night, I did not know. I've said this over and over again. Had I known, if anyone knows my personality, just the idea this would count as a crime. Letourneau and Falau married in 2005 after her release from prison, and she had 2 daughters, so she now has 6 kids. Does that mean that her 2 new kids are the proceeds of crime? Just my thoughts. Huh, and we've got Darius in the box. Darius says these women are sick individuals, no morals. Society refuses to hold them accountable. That's right. And these women who are doing these things are sick individuals, and society does refuse to hold them accountable. It is just absolutely incredible. Letourneau and Falau married in 2005 after her release from prison and share 2 daughters. Audrey, 21, was born after Letourneau's initial arrest, while Georgia, 19, was born behind bars. Really? So I put a photo of them actually in the thumbnail, guys, but I'm also going to play this little video. Now this is basically her saying, oh, I didn't know what I did was wrong. Now we're here. Give me a second. Oh, look, didn't she smash the wall hard? Check that out.
If someone had told me, if anyone had told me there is a specific law that says that this is a crime.
I'll say that to your face, Mary. I'll say that to you. I'm not whistling.
If you had someone on here that knew Mary back then, I did not know. I have said this over and over again.
So, how's that for a complete lack of accountability? Even at her advanced age of 1 million. And if you're not getting the reference from that, search "You're Not Married" Sydney MGTOW, and you'll find the video that refers to. But some of you guys may have tuned in. I noticed there weren't a huge amount of people. It was a fairly long stream, an hour and 40 minutes. But I did a stream with Red Pill Wisdom last night or yesterday. It was actually, I consider that as a double video because that was a very long stream. And we talked about some very interesting things. So obviously, if you look at the thumbnail of this video, and I'm going to show you the picture quickly, this guy actually was fairly tall. He was actually taller than her by the age of 12, right? So she's obviously seen him, decided he was attractive, and the hypergamy's kicked in. So, in terms of his visual appearance, she became hypergamous and decided that she wanted to monkey branch up. Now, look, I get that there's some young boys that probably would want to bang their students. I get it. It happens, right? There's also plenty of young girls that want to bang their teachers. Right? So it's not like, women are the only one banging their students. Men bang their students as well. But it's not just the boys who want to bang their teachers. It's girls who want to bang their teachers as well. And we really need to get past this whole idea, this whole concept of, well, I would have killed to bang that hot teacher when I was 14. It's like, yeah, maybe you would have. Maybe you would have. But if you did want to bang that teacher at 14 or 12 years old, what kind of impact would that have on your life long term if that did happen? I think it's really important for all parents to have a conversation with their kids, saying that there are going to be some teachers that are going to try and prey on them, especially if they're a good-looking boy or a good-looking girl. Even Antonio now says my 6th grade teacher was hot. Yeah, man, I remember this one teacher I had in high school. I would have been in maybe year 9 or year 10, and there was this chick called, her name was Annabelle Thistlewood. I still remember her name to this day. And if you're out there, presumably Mrs. someone else, not Miss Thistlewood, and you ever see this video, I'm not surprised if you got love letters from other boys, because we didn't know any better, One of the rowing teachers from my school was fucking a bunch of students, rugby players, rowers. We've got Nobba here in the chat, says my cross-country teacher in high school was fucking the star runner. Like, none of this is a surprise to any of us. None of this is a surprise. So, we really need to work on this double standard here, because it's not until we start, regardless of whether the 14-year-old boy wants to bang the hot female teacher, we need to stop celebrating young boys fucking their female teachers and not the other way around, because all this does is it just encourages the boys to shut up about it. It encourages people to not hold the teachers accountable for it. Mad Aussie Bushman banged his teacher when he was 13 on school camp, right in the box here. Like, this is going on all the time. Right? So, this is epidemic, guys. And I'm seeing, Evil Anonymous banged his landlady and got 3 months free rent. Nice work, Evil Anonymous. The difference is you're over 18 by this point. And these boys can be demanded by the state to pay child support even though they're underage. But of course, if there was an underage boy who got a teacher pregnant, it's always going to go the older woman's way. She's always going to get the child support paid by the younger boy, because they're never going to force a young boy to take custody of a child and get the older woman to pay child support. That's never going to happen. Underdog had female coaches banging soccer players at his school. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, this is epidemic. How many of you know of a female student that was banging a male teacher? And I'll give you like 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, just like smash out a comment to me. I have a feeling all I'm going to hear is crickets on that one, because the reality is it barely ever happens. It's not worth it for a man to bang a female student, even if she's trying to seduce him. Right? And then sometimes they fall folly, but they also lose their teaching certificate and they end up in jail usually. And then you get a situation like what we're in right now, where there's a complete double standard. Nobba says there was a teacher in woodshop doing 13-year-old girls. Yeah, and look, and as I said, there is definitely not... This goes both ways, guys. It's crazy. Kirian says there was this teacher called Ms. Dean I wanted to bang when I was in middle school back then. In middle school, she was petite. Sishu says, when he was in high school, a number of us suspected a male teacher for banging some female students, but there was never any proof. Girls try to keep it a secret. Boys brag in my experience. That's probably true, tinfoil hat. Scott says, women who bang their male students don't lose their teaching certificate, apparently. I mean, we've seen this over and over again. They just don't. Wow, my eyes match my my hoodie today. This is kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, where do we really go from this? Seriously, guys. We've gotten to this point where everything's just completely retarded. Everything's just retarded. And we shouldn't have school teachers getting away with banging students. It's like, if the students get up in there, good for them, you know? But the thing is, when they start relationships with these teachers, it can be very damaging long term. Whether it's a male teacher starting a relationship with a female student, or a female teacher starting a relationship with a male student. Either way can be pretty damaging long term. I mean, we look at some of these politicians. I think it wasn't Trudeau married his teacher or some shit like that, or Macron, one of the two, maybe both. So it's kind of where it's at, guys. And I don't know how I really don't know how we fix this problem. But one way we can fix this problem is by making sure that if males and females, like, making sure that if we know that, like, for example, you got a son, right? The son gets seduced by a female teacher. You have a duty to society to go and report that teacher and take it all the way. Matt Smith says, Sydney, there's a chick in the box. Yeah, Matt, you know, actually, of my subscriber base of almost 9,000 now, over 8% of that subscriber base are women, and I barely ever get any hate mail. In fact, I even get some people retweeting my videos on Twitter and saying they're fans. So, you know, it's just, as long as people aren't making problems. And look, there's been a couple of guys that have caused problems in the box as well, and, you know, they've been banned. But as long as people do not attack others in the box, as long as people don't disrespect others that have not done anything to warrant being disrespected, then, you know, like, we can't put a filter on our videos saying no females allowed, you know? We can't put a filter on saying only visible to men. So the reality is that women can actually see a lot of, you know, this MGTOW content. And I think a lot of women are starting to wake up to how feminism has lied to them. I think a lot of women are starting to wake up to the next level hypergamy that's been going on. And we see, I know Jordan Peterson actually spoke at some stage, and he said that feminism and hypergamy cannot coexist. Right? And I know a lot of guys like, well, you know, MGTOW is the only way, and I don't want to go back to traditionalism because that's gynocentric. But that, it was gynocentric, but it worked. You know what I mean? Before 1975, when the white knights and the simps allowed no-fault divorce, traditionalism worked. Generally speaking, things were pretty happy. I mean, I don't see that there's any way to possibly reverse this, because we're now at a point where, you know, women are working and men are working, so you got twice as many people working, so the cost of houses is more than double. And, you know, feminism is taking over the legal system. And we're now, yeah, like Sword in Hand says, if women had any brains, they would watch MGTOW content objectively. They might actually understand us dudes. And I see that starting to happen now. I've even had some women that have contacted me and said, I'm really worried about my son. He's in a relationship with a toxic female. What do I do here? I don't know how to deal with this as a mother. Like, I'm concerned for my son. And I don't know where we go with that. And, you know, we can blame house prices partially on foreign investors, but foreign investment's been heavily stemmed now by new legislation, but yet the prices are still up. And prices were continually rising over time, look, faster than inflation. Yeah, and Ling had sex with five different teachers or teachers' aides when he was age 13 to 17. Yeah, and Ling, you're a badass, man. You're a badass. And Hero Gabriel says homeschooling is the key, and I really believe that. I really do believe that homeschooling is the key. because the homeschooling is the only way you can get your kids away from these feminist teachers. Homeschooling is the only way you can get them away from this mainstream media indoctrination. It's the only way that you can be the parent that you need to be without other people undermining your authority and without other people undermining your values. It's so important. And Tinfoil Hat says it's crazy because men used to control everything. Now it's the opposite. How do we get here? I'll tell you how we got here, Tinfoil Hat. We never controlled everything, right? We always did things with women in mind. We always did things with our daughters, with our nieces, with our wives, with our partners in mind. We've always done that. It's always happened. But the problem is that we've allowed, we've not actually stepped in and said, I know we gave you these privileges, but that doesn't mean you can abuse them. That's the missing link. That's what we haven't done as a society. We haven't actually stepped in, right? Haven't actually stepped in and said, okay, drawing a line in the sand here, enough's enough. We're tightening up the reins because you can't be trusted with the reins, and you've just proven it. That is exactly why women have got so much legal control in the system. And this is, you know, a lot of where my problem lies with the way things are, currently. And the government really does not like homeschooling at all. In fact, there's some countries in which homeschooling is illegal. And I'll tell you why homeschooling is illegal in those countries. Because those countries have too many Marxists and they have too many feminists and social justice warriors in the, in the political system. And when I say Marxist, I mean people that are essentially using the systems of information and education to indoctrinate so that they can actually essentially control you by way of their way of thinking. This is exactly what's happened. We've given an inch, they've taken a mile with our complacency. Right? It's now, our system is now being taken over. I mean, we're seeing the ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, that is funded by taxpayers. Right? They have been trying to take away our free thought. They've been trying to indoctrinate our young kids. They've been trying to indoctrinate absolutely everyone into thinking their way, right? Into thinking their super radical left-wing, closed-minded way, right? Because Kirian here, he says he's a red pill liberal, and liberals hate him for that, right? And there's nothing wrong with being liberal as long as you can think laterally, right? You got to be liberal and lateral. If you really can think laterally, then it really opens your eyes and says, okay, well, maybe it's not, in a utopian world, it would be great to have all the things that I talk about, but by the same token, maybe it's not such a great idea to have it in the world that we live in. All right? So, as always, I say, where do we go from here? But it's going to be very interesting. I'm seeing a lot more, and you might have seen my video a couple of days ago. A Puerto Rican teacher got jailed for 10 years for sleeping with her 14-year-old student, as it should be. Right? Men are getting jailed for similar terms. Women should get jailed for similar terms. If you want equal everything, right? You want equal opportunities. You want equal pay. And by the way, we've given it to you, ladies. We've given you equal opportunity. We've given you equal pay, right? We've given you more than that. We've given you affirmative action. So we've given you preference over ourselves for jobs. Women in engineering, women who are engineering graduates are now graduating and walking into their first job on average on higher pay than a man. Right? Men invented engineering, and yet we've handed it over to women and given them more pay for the privilege. So we're granting affirmative action. We're giving all of this political power. Canada has just legislated that every single corporate board must have, California, or should I say California, has just legislated that every single corporate board must have a woman on it. They've legislated it. It's law. You have to do it. There's no out. So I see a lot of companies starting to close down and become private companies, or close down and reform as different entities, or or the guys are simply going to go, I'm out, and they're going to let females just rush in and take over the whole company, and the thing's going to go under. And if you don't believe me that will happen, go and check out my video, Catfights and Crying at an All-Female Workplace. That video is killer. So, and, you know, and I'm really glad as well. Some of you may have heard of her, Sydney Watson, that organized the March for Men. Of course, all the feminists were coming out and going, isn't it just typical that, you know, a man can't even organize a march for men? You know, they had to get a woman to do it. Well, it's like, they didn't get a woman to do it. The woman chose to do it. She chose to do it for all the right reasons. And if a man were to do it, then he'd be called a misogynist and a woman-hating bigot by the exact same people that are ridiculing a woman for organizing the march. So there's no way that men can actually claw back some of this without getting called a woman hater or being accused of turning back women's rights. So, and I think we've all been called a misogynist at some stage. Just ridiculous. The first time I heard misogynist was from that clown Julia Gillard, first female prime minister. Right? She started the misogynist train, and she also abolished 50-50 shared parenting, which means that more kids are going to be growing up in single mother households and having shittier lives than they might have otherwise had an opportunity to live. All thanks to our first female prime minister. Great stuff, Julia Gillard. You really fucking nailed your first female prime minister appointment. Anyway, guys, I'm going to bounce for now, and there will be one more video later this evening. Might make it a special one. I'll see how I go with that. I'll see what I can come up with for you guys, so that I can finish my 7 days strong of my 2 videos a day. And I will catch you guys very, very soon. If you want to donate, paypal.me/SydneyMGTOW. Please share this video with as many people you know. Right? That's even more important. Right? If you don't donate, that's fine, but please share this video with as many people as you can. Nova got his hoodie, man. These hoodies are so warm. Check out the fleece on this shit. Man, that is just like, it's like, oh, yeah. And if you want to check me out on my other platforms, look in the description below. Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it if you haven't already subscribed. I noticed that my subscriber numbers are growing as a percentage of people watching, so it's really good that you guys are able to catch these videos every day, and give it a thumbs up as well. Make sure you comment, engage with all the videos. It does help my videos to go up in the ranking so that more people can hear about the insanity that's going on in the world and hopefully get red pilled. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. I'll see you next time. Peace.